All right, Secret House, welcome
Secret
back.
House.
Hey, yeah, so I guess we're doing our year-end wrap-up right now. This is probably like one of the last 2 or 3 videos that we do of the year, unless we can get together next Wednesday. Yeah, but yeah, Secret House Against the World. It's us. We are the Secret House out here in Tokyo. For our longtime listeners, thank you for tuning in. For our new listeners or viewers, hit the like button, hit the subscribe. We talk about independent underground hip-hop music, and sometimes we talk about other genres as well. But today we are doing our kind of year-end wrap-up. We're giving you guys our top 10 favorite hip-hop albums of the year. And before we do that, let's talk a little bit about like how you guys created your list.
Hey, go
You
Jet.
know what I mean?
I want to hear Jet's process.
Yeah.
So I put together a list of all the albums that I felt could potentially make my top 10. Just anything I liked or loved this year.
Yeah.
And then I found a website by a woman whose name escapes me. And she had like a versus ranking thing where you put in the list of everything you liked, and then it would ask you like one at a time, or 2 at a time rather, what do you prefer? Do you prefer this or this? Do you prefer this or this? And then you sit there for 20 minutes just choosing whichever one you like, and then it spits out a ranking.
Very analytical approach.
Yeah, that's an interesting approach.
I can't trust myself to be like, oh, this is definitely like objectively my number 1. This is my number 2. I'm too scatterbrained to do
Can't
that.
trust yourself.
And I would also be like, oh, can I put 2 albums in number 3? Like, you know,
I did
giving
just-
myself
I was there like,
just
you
that.
know that's you.
giving myself like a definitive top 10 ranking was good for me. So that's
That's
how I
really
did it.
dope. Like, for me, I basically, as you guys can see, I wrote down all of the albums that I could remember that I listened to during the year,
90
which ended up,
bajillion?
which came up. My count, and I might be wrong, was like 107
Sounds about
just
right.
hip hop albums,
Yeah.
which is by far like the most listened to genre by me. And the first like top 5 was pretty easy. I knew that they would be on the list, but 5 through 10, it was basically like 20 albums that I just kind of kept going back to and kind of thinking about what I wanted to do. And at the end of the day, I kind of just came to, I wasn't trying to get towards objectivity. Even with myself, I was just kind of like, yo, like which album did I listen to more? Which has a song that I want to play right now? And like, yeah, it's nothing. My list is nothing about like what's most impressive or towards objectivity of what like the best album was of the year. And so these are just kind of like my favorite albums. If you have to ask me 10.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the same page. Sorry, Spade, I didn't mean to interrupt.
All right, my process is not even as scientific as either one of you guys. I went by what can I remember, because I digest music super passively. I listen and I try to forget because I create music and I don't want to like start aping somebody's style. That's another word you got me saying, aping. I hate aping somebody else's style, right? So that being the case, man, I forget way more music throughout the year
Yeah, word.
than I actually remember. So I go by like what actually hit me, what do I remember, and going like through my playlist on Spotify and other like sites, like, oh, I listened to that. That's why I did like that. So whatever hit me, I put it on the list. And most likely it was the most immaculately mixed and well-produced albums.
Word. Well, see, like I tried to do that too, but I could remember like 50 albums. And then there's like
Right.
50 that I couldn't remember. And there's like albums that I'm like, oh man, I really like that album. But really it was just like 4 tracks on it that I loved, and the rest I don't even remember.
It's difficult to rate an album exclusively based on like how you feel about the whole thing as a project sometimes, because there were definitely some albums, especially on my non-hip-hop list that we'll get on in another video, where it was like there were like 3 or 4 songs that were my favorite songs of the year, and then I didn't really care much for the album because it was too long or it was, you know, varied too much in quality. So it's difficult to say, okay, this is definitively like an album as a complete work that I really like, unless that's really the intention of the artist, I think.
Well, shit, let's go ahead and get into it. Who wants to go first with their list?
Why don't you go first? Cause,
Okay.
yeah.
What
Yes.
we're gonna do something a little bit different than we did last year. Last year we would say the ranking. We'd start at 10 and we'd say the album and then talk about some of the qualities of why we liked it and why we chose it. And what that ended up doing was giving us like 20 minutes of talking about our list. And this time I think maybe we should give our list, and then we kind of all talk about that single list, next list, and kind of all talk about it, and then you know what I mean. So I'm just gonna rifle off my top 10 Here we go, and I'll try to edit and put like the album cover on it and shit. So you guys got to send me your typed list and shit. But number 10 is 10 by West Side Gun. I kind of didn't expect it. 10 was okay. I'm doing what I said I wouldn't do.
You said you weren't going to do.
So 10, West Side Gun. Number 9 is King Cobra by Brian Enols and Infinity Knives. Number 7, Joshua Virtue, Rama. Number 7, Fly Anakin, Frank. Number 6, Component System by Open Mike Eagle. Number 5, Cities of Vive. Now, I only chose the one. Man Plays the Horn. Number 4, Akai Solo, Spirit Roaming. Number 3, No Caps When You Spell the Man's Name, Billy Woods. And I chose Church, but I'd like to just include Aethiops in there too. Number 2, Elucid, I Told Bessie. And number 1, Death Fame by Quelle Chris.
Quelle Chris?
Yeah, Quelle Chris. Yeah, man, like I was about to say, number 10, it took me forever. Like I kind of wanted, I noticed that I didn't really have like a more popular mainstream sounding album, and I was thinking, you know, I really like the Saba album, A Few Good Things. I really like Black Thought and Danger Mouse's joint. The JID album was also incredible, and like they were all kind of fighting for the top spots, but when it came down to it, man, like I actually just liked the idea of West Side Gun's 10 being number 10, and that kind of pushed me over the edge for that. So anything on there you guys didn't expect?
Yeah, I didn't expect Frank.
Okay.
Because I remember listening to Frank, and I thought Frank would have been great, but it just hurt my ears listening to Frank.
Right.
But I didn't think it'd be that high. I think maybe Frank should have been 10.
Well, you know, the thing about Frank is that the album kind of grew on me more, especially songs like Black Be the Source. I found myself going back to that song a lot and just chilling with it. And the Mad Lib joint was kind of my jam of the summer, one of my jams of the summer. And I thought it almost wasn't on my list at all. There was a variety of other albums that could have took the spot, but then I was just like, fuck it, man. I like Fly Anakin. I like Frank. Let's put Frank there. Word.
We have a lot of crossover on our lists.
Okay.
Not mine.
But yeah, I mean, we have like slightly different order going on.
Okay.
I'm just
Death Fame grew on me too a lot. Death Fame grew on me a lot.
I'm a little.
Why don't you do your list then?
Okay, yeah, I'll list mine off as well.
We can compare and contrast.
So number 10, Open Mike Eagle Component System with the Auto Reverse. Number 9, Cities of Eve, Man Plays the Horn. Number 8, Occam's Blazer, self-titled.
Okay.
Number 7, Hold Resample Quartet, Shadow Play.
I don't know that.
That's Aaron.
Oh, okay. No shit.
Fly Anakin, Frank, number 6. Number 5, Lupe Fiasco, Drill Music in Zion.
There we go.
Number 4, YL, Soda Club Deluxe.
Hey.
Number 3, Quelle Chris, Death Fame. Number 2, Billy Woods, Church. And number 1, Chris Crack, Growthfully Developed.
Hey, all right now.
Hey, I respect
shout out
that
to Chris Crack.
Shout out to Chris.
So he just beat everybody out, yeah?
He just beat. That's the one I keep going back to the most. That's
Man.
also why the YL is so highly ranked on there. I don't think it's like the most technically proficient. I don't think it has the best beats, but I've listened to that album probably 100 times in this year.
It's a dark horse pick for me too. It's kind of like if I had to have a dark horse album of the year, that's got to be it.
And that's such an easy album to recommend to people as well. People,
it's a
lot of
jam.
people haven't heard it. Like that review didn't get that many views. Although I think that's just because Spade wasn't there.
Right. YL reached out to us on the strength of that.
He did, yeah.
Yeah. So shout out to him.
Shouts out to YL.
Yeah.
I just keep going back to it. It's such an easy listen.
Word.
It sounds good in basically any context. I can listen to it on like a nice sunny day. I can listen to it when I'm alone in my room with headphones on. It's just a really pleasurable listen.
Shaft was also
Shaft,
like a fucking jam of the summer.
That didn't quite make my top 10 tracks of the year, but as a whole project, I dug the whole thing. Even that We Ride joint, which I know you didn't much care for, was a track that I liked a lot on there.
Shaft did make my top 10 songs of the year.
The I guess I'll quickly run through some of the albums that we share then. So
Okay,
the,
yeah.
the,
I'm
the
in-
Open
I'm in
Mic
for this.
Eagle.
The Open Mic Eagle made it. I'm
um,
surprised because that was kind of a I didn't know if I was gonna actually put that on there.
It grew on me a little bit. There was some tracks on there like I'll Fight You, which
Yeah.
made it very high up on my
Yeah,
tracks
I do
of the
enjoy
year.
that one too a
I
lot.
really enjoyed that album.
For Doom, I kind of felt like For
Doom.
Doom was a little bit cheating because it came out like 2 years ago now. Like
Right.
Doom's been dead for a while, but I played that song so much, and the Illingsworth beat on it is so dope. Yeah, that's another dope joint on there too.
What else did we share? The Cities of Eve, Man Plays
Yeah.
the Horn.
You went with Man Plays the Horn. I went with
You also went with Man Plays the Horn.
Oh,
did you not?
did I say? Did I? Okay, yeah. Man Plays the Horn. I
You
thought
did
I
two,
said
didn't you?
Waters.
I think you did 2.
Well, I know I did 2 for Billy, but yeah, Man Plays the Horn should be my number 5. For
So
sure,
working title for the secret for the album titled Secret Waters.
Yeah. Great. But-
I listened to it more than I listened to Man Plays the Horn because Man Plays the Horn is 2 hours long.
Yeah.
But as a complete piece, I find Man Plays the Horn more fascinating.
Yeah,
There's
absolutely.
so much more to
Absolutely.
break down, and there's so, the later album of the two is certainly easier to kind of sit down and enjoy. But Man Plays the Horn, I'm still like picking apart.
Word.
Sometimes I'll throw it on, and I won't even I'll just pick a random track. I'll just go to track 7
yeah,
and then
yeah.
just listen to that.
I do go to that
And
Luca track a lot though.
That's
That Luca
tight.
track is very dope. But yeah.
Sometimes I'll just throw on
Just-
something random.
yeah.
I'll listen to it for 20 minutes. I
it's
don't
a-
listen to the whole album. I'll be like, I'll just listen to this part
Yeah.
today.
It's
Just
a-
let him bar out.
It's an album that kind of just like emerges in different ways during different times, man. I like that
I'm
shit a lot.
just shocked you both like Frank that much.
Okay, yeah, no. So I won't get into my top 10 rap tracks of the year right now, but let's say No Dough off that album, which I know you didn't much
No-no.
care for. That's a no. Let's just say that track ranks very,
What does he
very
say,
highly
bro?
on my list.
Whoop niggas ass so bad they get their
The
Special
special
move. That was a hard bar.
It's so
Like, yeah,
hard.
bro.
Albums, it's hard, man, and the production on there. I know
It could have been better. It was there.
I know it's very
Nah,
dusty,
but-
and
It
you're
was
not
out
into the
there.
Black Be
dustiness,
the
but
Source though is just
that
like
shit's like.
yeah, that
it's
shit
crazy.
is kind of uplifting to
Yo,
me, bro. I
phase
love that
analyzers, guys. If they would have
And-
just mixed that jump better, it would have been so much better for me.
shit. Word.
He's like, I don't know. There's something about the way Flanagan delivers that, like, when I'm listening to him, like, I just feel
Word.
good.
Why
It's-
did you go with Church over
Over
eight?
Ethiops?
Yeah.
Because it bangs hard.
It
That's what I
slaps
thought, yeah.
harder.
That's what I thought.
Ethiops,
does.
Ethiops is phenomenal, and
Right.
it's definitely worth my top 10 in my
So
opinion.
it's
There are
like a
albums on
better
here.
art piece, but as a music, it's like
as
yeah,
music,
it just
yeah, I
doesn't-
don't feel the need to go back and listen to Ethiops.
I also have like a
Um,
sour taste in my mouth from that
The
review.
review.
yeah. I don't think yeah.
You
it
know,
came off
can I
real
talk
well.
about that real quick? Because
Yeah,
the
bust
funny
it.
thing, everybody's like, yeah, this is what I want to see. I'm like, yo, y'all be laughing at our arguments. Like, yeah, this is what I want to see. I'm like,
Well, I mean, it was a real argument though. That's like some
Yeah.
shit that you don't really find
kinda
in another place.
yeah,
It-
but
you
like,
know.
the conflict can't be like the main thing. though.
Right, right.
It was like, I'm like, man, y'all just want to see destruction, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
damn.
Well, I think one of the interesting dichotomies about our podcast is because we all come from really different spaces and musically,
Yeah.
and especially Spade, you're either further away from kind of this underground
Oh,
shit that we
definitely.
always talk
Right.
about. So you kind of give the everyman take or the more average hip hop
Yep.
fan take
John
on,
Everyman.
a lot of this shit. So it's just like like Man Plays the Horn. We didn't review that shit because I was like, ain't no way I'm making Spade listen to
Listen to
2
it 2
hours
hours.
And then
of
bless you.
this shit. So
He blesses you.
word. Why don't you give us your list, Spade?
All right, I'm good.
the people's champion, DJ L. Spade.
Yeah.
All right, number 10 was Yo Gotti, CM10. Love that album. Number 9 was Nas, Kings of These 3. Heh. Number 8 was Pusha T, Almost Dry. Here we go. Where am I at? 7. Number 6.
Bro, why didn't you put numbers in it? Last year you
Yeah.
skipped the whole
I know, right? The next one is Chris Crack, Growthfully Developed. Love
Okay.
that, John. Next, DJ L. Spade, Battle of the Beats.
Are you
Oh.
serious?
Yes.
You put your own album
did.
on a list.
Yes. DJ L. Spade,
I
Battle
knew
of
I
the
should have
Beats.
told him he shouldn't do
Yeah.
that.
It's true. It's true. I
Yeah,
do
yeah.
really like every other track on that album.
Oh, thank you. Oh, wow. I see what you just did there. that registered a little bit later. Like, oh, okay, word.
okay.
Next one,
Shouts out to Classic
The odd or
Shows.
even tracks. Yeah, right.
the next one is the bowling club, John. The Advent Bowling Club.
Avondale
Trees.
Bowling Club.
Yeah, shout out
Trees.
to Tom, man. You out there
Yeah,
dropping
yeah.
them bars.
That was just outside my top 10. Sorry,
really?
please continue.
The next one was Occam's Blazer. Man,
Okay.
whoo, that joke was hard. Touched my soul. Next, I Told Bessie, Lucid. Man, love that album.
Okay.
Next, Kendrick Lamar, Mr. Morales and the Big Stepper, or as my homie Meg would say, the Hot Steppers.
Murderer.
And number one. And that J.I.D. go hard, dog. The Forever
Word.
Story. That
I was waiting for that.
Oh, it's so hard.
I was
Oh
waiting
my
for that.
God.
It is a really dope album.
I kind of wish we'd reviewed it. I mean,
do too.
I don't
Wow,
feel
man,
like
it's so bad. It's
but
so
also,
bad. It's so good.
we, you know, there's enough people talking about JID and how good that album is that I don't feel like our take necessarily would have like changed anything.
Right.
And I don't regret reviewing anything we reviewed this year. Because
we just didn't. We were just not reviewing when that
the
dropped.
timing
We
just
were
didn't work
busy
out.
for
We
that
weren't.
one.
Yeah.
I'm glad we didn't review it because there's nothing that we could have added. There's no value add. This album is just a miraculous piece of work that bridges the gap between like your backpackers, your undergrounders, and your mainstream people.
Yeah.
Like even the features, man, like putting 21 Savage on surround sound was genius. And the track selections, the mix was
Fucking
impeccable.
money.
It's just great, bro.
It's a really good album.
It's a damn good album. Number one, he's gonna get a Grammy for this too, by the way.
You think so?
I think
Is he
so.
nominated?
He should be.
Okay. I mean, I have no idea. I don't follow that much at all. But yeah, the JID was up there. I like I said, I had the Saba, Black Thought, and the JID is kind of my spot number 10.
Well,
but
another one we didn't review was the Pusha T, which
Pusha T.
I
I
understand
didn't
not
listen to
doing
it.
it. I understand because Pusha T is a staple in the community. Like, you know what you're gonna get with Pusha T. It's like, this is what I'm gonna get. He is a consistent rapper, and even though I knew what I was gonna get with this album, it was just well done.
The single, the first single, "Dreaming of the Past," the one with the Donny Hathaway sample where he's singing like "Jealous Guy," which was I think is a Beatles or a John Lennon song. That flip is really, really dope, and I would have considered it as an honorable mention for my favorite tracks of the year. But you know who produced that song? Kanye.
Yeah,
So-
okay, like, that whole
I
album
did-
was done by Kanye.
Kanye
Pharrell,
produced it, yeah.
And, you know, but
you know,
I really
just
like that
didn't
track
listen.
though. It's a good track.
I didn't listen to it. I didn't listen to that. I didn't listen to the new Gibbs album. There was a few albums that like I knew that they were there, but I just didn't get to them. But man,
I think it's. I will
Vince
say,
Staples shit was dope too, though. His
Yeah, it
almost
was
made
dope,
my
as someone who,
Parks.
sorry, can I just cut in with the Pusha T? As someone who's not a fan of Pusha T's work, because I mean he has one subject matter.
yeah, you
His
don't get
his son's name is literally Bricks.
Bricks, yeah.
He has one subject matter. This is my favorite Pusha T album. If you're not
It
including Clips
is,
song,
yes.
clip stuff. I think as a complete work, this is really, really solid. He bars out on a lot of the tracks. The production is like immaculate, super silky, but it's dusty at the same time. You know, there's some like classic style Kanye on there where he's like chopping soul samples and stuff like that.
Drums don't hit as hard though.
Drums don't hit as hard, but you know, Pharrell also brings like that classic like
Stripped down Pharrell
stripped
sound.
down.
He does it well. He's the only one that does that stripped down production decently. Swiss
Yeah.
Beats and others, you're garbage.
Yeah, so
So
that
booty,
was.
Swiss Beats. Like, I don't know how he got away with that. Like, seriously. Ugh.
Did
So it
Sick
was an
by
era,
Earl
it was a
Sweatshirt
song?
come out this year?
Yes, it did.
Okay, yeah, that's also one that like didn't cross my mind when I was making the list, but I think probably would have floated around.
I did like Sick a lot. I just it was kind of like I forgot if it came out this year, even though one of
Oh, it did come
the
out,
songs
yeah.
it was one of the first reviews we did, and I really do like it. Like, one of the songs that I didn't like when I first listened to the album is actually my favorite song on it now, the Z Loopers joint Vision. Like,
Yeah.
I get that song stuck in my head a lot, but I kind of forgot about that album just a little bit.
I do worry that there's a bit of recency bias in both of our lists.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
You know, the having like
That Joshua
Cities
Virtue
of Eve, which
actually
we just reviewed.
The Joshua Virtue album probably doesn't really garner a spot here, but I've kind of had it on repeat since I told you about it a couple weeks back.
It's
and I
really
do
good.
like him as an artist, so I really enjoyed it. But there are a lot of, I mean, the JID would be like, realistically, I loved the JID album more than I like the Joshua Virtue album. And so yeah, there's
It's
a
an
few.
honorable mention for me, man. I gotta say that damn Red Veil album we did this year was
That was a
great.
good one
Red Veil,
too.
yes.
Yeah,
But
that was in contention.
I was like, I almost squeaked him in at 10, but I'm like, no, just on the strength of me being from Memphis, Yo Gotti got it.
I'm surprised that you put the Kendrick there and you didn't have the Earth Gang there.
The Earth Gang album, man, I felt like it was good, but it could have cooked a little bit more. Like I feel like the next
It's
Earth Gang
kind of
album will be
similar
better.
to the JID,
Right.
but
Yes.
doesn't do any of it as well. Other than like a couple of tracks, which are pretty great. But
It's like the Coast Contra album too. It's like the Coast Contra album is good, but it doesn't really hit the mark for me. It's something
Yeah.
I will listen to. I keep
mean,
listening to it, but it ain't just
That came
there.
out this year?
yep.
Yeah.
Shit. I didn't even put that on my list of remembered albums. Well, another album that I thought you would have on your top 10 list was that Shrapnel album.
I did like that album.
I thought you liked that one enough to
I
put
did.
it on the list.
I'm actually
really
surprised
did.
because when I was doing this ranking system thing, where it's asking me, you know, what do you prefer? Do you prefer the Occam's Blazer or the Shrapnel? Do you prefer the Cities of Eve or the Shrapnel? And like, you know, all these other things. I could have sworn I hit Shrapnel quite a lot. And I was surprised that it didn't make the top 10. I
Word.
think it might have even come 11th because I dug that album a lot.
Sure.
I thought it was a really like interesting blend of you know, very artificial, choppy kind of hip hop, and also quite jazzy and free flowing at the same time. And it was also, you know, artists that I wasn't familiar with, which kind of gave me a little bit more kind of incentive to enjoy it because it was something fresh for me.
I feel like I had too many of those albums in there. I had Occam's Blazer, then I had the Bowling Club and that joint. You know, I was like,
I mean, you like musicianship, and that's
Yeah.
something
I
you
feel that.
value very, very highly. And I've you know, certainly the albums that we've reviewed that you've enjoyed the most have been the ones where like a jazz band is playing on it.
love it.
I
didn't wanna be that guy,
The
though, like-
drumming is real good.
Oh man,
yeah.
July Scone, you the man. Love you.
Shouts out to July
You
Scone.
know he followed me on Instagram.
He follows all of us on
Yeah.
Instagram.
Man, shout out to July Scone.
On both of his projects as well, because he's got another thing out now.
I didn't listen to that one, but I did see it pop up. Man, what was a disappointing album for you guys this year?
Kendrick,
Yeah, the Kendrick for me too. I'm surprised to see it on your list.
It's so
a
high.
little bit surprised to see it on your list
Here's-
because I just didn't. It didn't click for me, and I say that not as like a Kendrick hate. I'm a huge Kendrick fan. He's probably the only mainstream artist that I champion as being like brilliant, genius level artistry. But this one, it feels like an album that should have come out a few years ago. The talking points
does.
were very like the Dave Chappelle kind of stand-up talking points. Like
the production is very out of the box as well.
is.
A lot of presets on that album.
I do like one of the songs made my favorite songs of the year. One of the songs from that album, but the rest of it, bro, like I tried to go back to listen to it and I was just nah, I'm not in the mood for this.
All right.
Multiple times.
I'll say this: like you're right. Both of what you guys said is right. For me, it got ranked number 2 because the relevance and the impact of it was greater than the sum of its parts. Like for
Sure.
the average hip hop listener, this was a breath of fresh air and something to
Yeah.
inject, like something new into the culture.
And
imagine being 15 years old and this is kind of like your first
step into
Kendrick
it.
experience or
Right.
something like that. Being a young kid listening to it, or like even like a 22-year-old. You know what I mean?
The
Like
topics were cookie
there's not
cutter,
a
right? And the topics were something that you could have got anywhere, but the very fact that
It's
Kendrick,
good to hear it from Kendrick.
Yeah, Kendrick made like the whole transgender thing and bringing those out.
It's
It
weird
means a lot.
because it feels like the topics are cookie cutter, but who else is doing that?
That's my point.
Yeah.
It's weird because like maybe because it's so much a part of like the cultural war dialogue and social media, we feel like a lot of these topics have been kind of parsed out better or too often, and that's why I feel like the album seems a little bit dated to me. I think like it feels like it could have been like 3 years ago that this
You're right,
dropped,
'cause the
and
topics are
maybe
being
it would
beat to
sit with
death.
me better.
Yeah.
But right now, I just like, bro, like
Exhaustion.
I just don't want to hear a lot of that shit.
I'm also, you've reminded me that the track Father Time off the album is one of my favorite songs of the year, and it probably would have made my top 10 had I just intentionally blanked that album from my memory. I didn't even think about the Kendrick album when I was making these lists. I was like, yeah, this isn't going to be on here.
But see what you guys did though, right there. When y'all start thinking about it, you're like, well, that song was on there. That song was on there. That song was on there.
But
And that's why it's
also
number 2 for me.
as an
2 is
album,
very high.
it
I can
doesn't.
see 10, but yeah.
Wow.
I just didn't think you when we talked about it, I didn't think you enjoyed it that much.
I was
to
the
put it
only
on
one
there.
defending the album. I'm gonna be honest.
But you
like,
were,
doing it.
I think, because you'd mentioned, I don't know if it was on tape, but you'd mentioned you were kind of burnt out talking about that album
I was.
because you talked about it on like 3 podcasts
podcasts, yes.
before we even recorded the Secret House review. So I think at this point you were kind of just like, yeah, it's the Kendrick album, whatever. Like, you know, it's Kendrick Lamar and it's pretty good. And he talks about some neat stuff. I actually didn't like the album. Like it's the
Oh,
first
we remember.
Kendrick
Yeah.
thing.
You didn't put it out
like.
for the audience as much as you did when we were in the studio, but we remember.
Oh yeah, no, I really.
you were vexed.
I'm a huge Kendrick fan. I'm a huge fucking Kendrick fan,
Yeah, I
and
know.
I remember even on first listen, I was like, oh my god, it's mid.
It surprised me. I was like, oh, okay, is it getting good? Wait, it's not getting better for me. That's how I felt about it.
What did y'all guys want though from the Kendrick? Like, what did you want?
More of the Heart Part 5 or whatever. I'd like the video, but I don't know. There's some songs on there that I really love. I won't get into it. But,
I don't know why, because Kendrick even says about 30 times on the album, "Can please everybody." And
Yeah,
the truth is,
I don't like the Eckhart Tolle shit. I don't like a lot of that
the self help
I
stuff.
think y'all would like that because that's what like a lot of this underground rap is doing now, like taking samples and putting it in
but
there.
Eckhart Tolle, man, I'm
I know
not
it's
fucking
generic.
reading from the self-help section of Barnes and Noble and shit. You know, that's definitely not me.
Right.
And I just kind of didn't. It felt pretentious to me to a
Really?
degree.
You think
well,
so?
Well, not. It kind of feels like Why do you need like I gotta go talk to Eckhart about this? Like it's just kind of like, bro, like what is this like? You know what I mean? Like, and then a lot of it seemed contradictory. It's like you talking about like this, and then you got Kodak Black, and then this is like
I thought that was
okay. I thought that was an intentional choice.
I like Kodak Black's verse, but I don't need Kendrick to redeem him for me for a point. Like I don't know. Let's go on to more other disappointing albums. I got another two.
Go ahead.
Black Star.
I didn't listen to it.
I haven't heard it. Yeah.
I mean, the thing about it is like you expect, like the first Black Star album is monumental. It's a point in time. It's a classic album. It's really good all around. It you know, both of these guys are really good at doing what they do. Plus they've enlisted Madlib, who is also fucking a master craftsman of his sound. You would just expect it to be better, but it sounds like it's recorded in shitty hotels. The performances seem uninspired. None of it seems very interesting to me in almost like any way. I just don't like that shit almost at all, and it feels to me like it was offensive to hear. I'm not going to. No, I'm just joking a little bit, but
maybe
I didn't like that
disappointing is a little strong, but I'm going to go with the Car albums.
Okay, bet.
I like them well enough. I think they're pretty good, but the amount of hype, you know, I'd listened to some of his earlier work. I'd listened to like When I Killed the Samurai and stuff like that, and those albums are pretty great. But I was really, mostly based on what you had said to me, I was really, really looking forward to like having something to chew on.
Like, word Spade, lyricism Spade. What do you know about that Spade? But then when I was listening to it, I was like, I don't really have any
Lyricism's great,
lines
but yeah, the albums
to really poke at
like, yeah, it's
Spade.
pretty good.
Like, no drum Spade. That's what I wanted to do, but yeah.
I think Woeful
and the Rock
Studies
Marciano also felt the same way for me.
That's my disappointment of the year. The Rock Marciano. But I'll let you continue, Jet. Go ahead.
Woeful Studies was better for me than Language Arts. We reviewed Language Arts.
Yeah,
it's
a little bit more
the other one.
upbeat. Yeah, same.
A little more upbeat. Is a little bit more like going on in terms of the musicianship on the record and the composition. But yeah, it was just like fine to me. I didn't dislike it at all, but I was just like, oh, this is cool. This is cool. I haven't really gone back and listened to either of them. Maybe I'd like them more. They'd grow on me because there is a lot going on lyrically. But yeah, they were just fine.
Okay, for me, that damn Rock Marcy album was disappointing. To listen to that perspective from an Asian rapper, say what you want about the Pusha T album, because you can kind of make the same comparison, but at least Pusha T's was like, I'm not out here in these streets doing that. And coupled with Alchemist production, which I love you, Al. Put that out there. I love you. Happy New Year's and Happy Hanukkah. But coupled with that production, I found it like uninteresting.
Yeah, I actually I don't think that there was any like poor performances from Alchemist or Rock on that, but it just didn't click
together. Yeah.
I mean, lucid dreaming, holding my penis.
Yeah.
I like it. It's fucking amazing.
Also, the Frank album was kind of disappointing to me, only because of the mix. 'Cause I really liked that album, but if the mix would have been a little better on that Frank album, it probably wouldn't. No, it wouldn't have been in my top 10, but it would have been higher.
The Namir Blade also was, I'm not going to say disappointing, but I like forgot about it as soon as we were done
talking. It was
talking
forgettable,
about it.
not disappointing, just forgettable.
I actually thought that might end up on one of your top 10 for some reason, because I thought
from Nashville.
Well, because it was one of the last thoughts that I had when I was putting my list together, like trying to just Off the Dome Remember albums. I almost didn't remember that shit. And I was like, oh, I think Spade really enjoyed that one. I wouldn't be surprised if that fell on your list. But I was looking forward to the Yo Gotti's and your other choices. That's why
CM10 was great. If anybody wants to listen to some like contemporary rap music that just slaps, and from an Asian rapper who still's like got the the slappy bappers, go listen to that Cocaine Music 10.
I like the Simba album was good. Also, the Vince Staples is fucking great.
It is good.
Yeah, the Vince Staples is great for real rap music shit, West Coast rap music shit. But man, there were just so many albums that I really did enjoy.
Can I give an underrated album?
Let's do some underrated. Some
really,
sure. How about some albums that were in contention for you in that top 20?
Let me tell you something. This one album is, for me, almost made it, and it was underrated. Man, shout out to Rory, bro. Your last album was hard.
Five to the Eye with Stars is also one of the albums that was in my top 15 contention.
I'm sorry, man. I thought you was booty, but you're not. You can flip it, my guy. So, like, seriously, all the respect in the world.
We did it, guys. We did it. Secret
it.
Housers. We finally got Spade on track. He's an underground hip hop head now. We did it. We fucking did it. He's like, not yet. It just wasn't as bad as I was expecting.
It was way better than I thought. I came in there like, here we go.
You did come on one of the more dour sounding type of fucking very poetic albums, to the point where I was disappointed in my review of it because I focused so much on a poetic aspect instead of a lyrical aspect, because I really wanted to poke Spade with some lyricism shit too, but I just forgot all about it.
More Mother, Jazz Codes. That was in my.
I almost put that on my non-hip-hop albums because I felt as though I could kind of hand wave my way into adding that.
You can actually. Yeah.
I mean, but you could also probably say the same thing about the Occam's Blazer.
See, that I told you before we started, it's like a lot of my top 10, I'm like, I don't know if that's hip-hop or not, but I'm going to put it in anyway.
One more.
Fatboy Sharif and No Face. Preaching in Havana.
I can't handle it right now.
Dude,
really.
I thought that
it's too voodoo. Yeah, I thought it's too voodoo for me right now.
I'm into it. I've been listening to a lot of like black metal and like occult type shit this year. And I think that just ticked those boxes for me. It's gross. It's fucking disgusting. It's like walking around in a tar pit. It's great. I love it.
The first time I was like, what the fuck is this? I was like,
it's different.
Like I was like, oh my god. Well, I listened to it at night and I had to stop. I'm like, nope. I'll come back to this.
Only reason it didn't make my list is because I haven't listened to it enough times. It hasn't like settled on me yet. Because I figured we might review it.
There was another album that came out from Fatboy Sharif earlier in the year called something Circuit City or Circuit something. I forget the name. But I was like, oh, I'm not going to introduce Spade to this. As a first listen for that
Cyber City Society. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm not going to introduce Spade to this as his first listen to Fatboy Sharif,
and I probably would have said introduction.
Yeah,
I mean, the album was a good introduction
like his Gandhi Loves album is a better starting point. I think a little bit more accessible, and the beats by Robert Williams are a little bit more. You know what I mean? But
that No Face album goes good. The tracks, like the way he's like playing
scary,
the piano and stuff like that, and it's on and off beat, and how Sharif bends his voice and comes in. So like unorthodox. I love it. It's just I'm just like, ugh,
bro. I was walking home the other night, and I had a Tomoyuki behind me, and I was like, this is the night that I get stabbed. I'm gonna have to change this shit up immediately. No, they're the Five to the Eye though is another really good album that might have made a list in a different world. What else was really good? I did like the Lupe album, but it wasn't going to crack the top 15, I don't think.
I think the reason it landed so high on my list is just on sheer competence. Everything on there is very good. The rapping is very good. The beats are very good. The production is very good. It sounds good. Like it's not a complex listen. It's like an archetype of what a quote unquote good rap album should be to me.
It is. It very much is. Did y'all hear the new Aesop and Lupe Fiasco collaboration?
Is that a thing?
It's a song out right now called Pumpkin Seeds.
Yeah, it came on my new release.
Yeah.
I
didn't know about it.
It's hard. I need a full length album. But my final album that very well could have been on my top 10, Triple Black Diamonds 3 by Al Divino and ST Knack. It's just gutter hip hop with weird fucking beats. And ST-Nack is fucking hilarious. It is a fucking listen. I rock with it heavy. ST-Nack is an acquired taste, but fucking there. That album, for me, it really could push out. It could push out Hitler 10. It could push out Frank. It could push out Joshua Virtue from my top 10, I think. But yeah.
What?
Okay, shit. How long we been recording? Like 40 minutes?
Like
Do y'all want to just do our top 10 hip hop songs of the year on this one, or do a separate video?
We'll do a separate video.
Separate one, man.
I.
See, you look at you breaking your own rules.
You know what I mean? I don't even know how to live my life anymore. I've been
Secret
confused.
House.
Secret House Against the World, top 10 favorite albums of the year. Please
Thank
hit
you
the
guys
like
for rocking with us for a whole year. Greatly appreciate that.
bro.
It really
700
means
subscribers.
a lot.
Thank you.
We're
Let's
a
get to
little over
1,000.
700 right now. We appreciate all of our folks in the comments, man. This year was really good. Like we said, we had a couple of different artists reach out to us. YL, Double A,
Fat Boy Sharif.
Fat Boy Sharif was in there. AJ Suede, you know what I mean? Appreciated us for reviewing his content.
Thank you, Alchemist, for like listening to my music. That means a lot.
Alchemist did fucking come into the comments.
No name subscribed.
Yeah, no name is big for me because she's one of the dopest outspoken socialist, black socialist, Pan-African black socialist voices in hip hop right now, and that was really dope for me. I saw Quasar from the Mighty Typical Cats in the comments. July Scone followed us.
Shout out to July Scone.
I feel like we're forgetting a couple people who have been
Rory
there.
showed some love. I think that was
Double
last year.
A.
though.
Maybe last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. But you
We
know,
miss you. Charge to the head, not the heart. We really love you. Thank you.
I know, like, I feel like we've got really interesting take here on the approach, 3 different voices, and we are focusing primarily on underground independent hip hop stuff. I really would like us to ramp up the production, not in terms of video quality, because I'm even using the front camera on this shit so it looked more grainy. I'm talking about, like, I would like it if we could record more reviews next year. This year was maybe less than last year, but yo, yeah, my favorite comment to this day is the cat that said, y'all are some of the best out here reviewing albums. I put you guys right up there with dead end hip hop in terms of the conversation, knowledge, and the type of shit you guys are doing. So yeah, man, and they got like multi cameras and shit. We've got a fucking camera phone.
Well, can I
You know what
say
I mean?
to anybody, I know this is not my wheelhouse, and anybody I may have given a bad critique to, although I may not like your music, I respect the hell out of what you're doing and keep on doing what you're doing. It's just me.
Why don't you put that AJ Suede in the Metatron's Cube in the top 10 list? And say
Because he had to put his own album in there.
Yeah.
Where he got bodied by
I'm gonna
Classic
boycott
Jones.
that shit next year, bro. You can't do that. You know, it'd been really wild if he was like, in number 2, DJ L Spade. Yeah, like, hey. All right, yeah, man. DiMaggio, Angels Wear Black. So many. Maybe I'll post my list of albums I listen to because there's a gang of them
Yeah,
with
you got
little
hundreds
star
on there.
ratings or whatever. But yeah, we'll be back. Secret House, fuck the whole right. I was gonna say something too. Boo, 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 boo.